As a wise scholar once said, I'm no good to anyone, because all I care about is being number one. Just kidding. Clearly, I just happened to be listening to Numb by Maroon and the Diamonds right before filming this, and it kind of felt appropriate. Okay, POV, you're a booktuber, and you've created dozens and dozens of videos. You've spent so many hours editing, filming, uploading, promoting, all of that, and now you are doubting yourself and questioning everything. Hello, my name is Elise, and just in case you got so excited that I uploaded a new video that you just so happened to forget to check the title of it, this is going to be a reflection on whether or not I actually like booktube. This has been a question I've been asking myself quite a lot recently, but also since pretty much I started booktube, and it's always something that I've been going back and forth on because there's a lot of ups and downs when it comes to producing YouTube videos. Clearly, spoiler alert, I like booktube because I continue to make videos consistently, and recently I've started uploading twice a week. So yes, I do like it, but this is going to be a reflection on my thoughts of how I've struggled and the frustrations behind booktube and also the joy behind it. This is going to be a video that is pretty much just me rambling and a conversation between me and the camera, and maybe you if you want to comment on it. But yeah, there's no structure here. I'm literally just saying whatever is on the top of my head because yeah, no planning whatsoever on this channel ever. I'm not going to talk too much about my own personal development and growth and journey and all of that because I do have a video planned for my 1-year anniversary on booktube where I'll dive into all of my personal things with booktube. So hopefully this video will be more relatable to others. I mean, I don't want you all to relate to negative feelings regarding booktube, but also I feel like a lot of you do. So let me know if any of these are shared experiences. But let's get into it. First thing I want to start off with was just the general frustrations of starting booktube. I was very unsure of starting a booktube, and I had the idea in my head that I kind of wanted to, but like I didn't actually think I was going to go through with it because a lot of reasons. I mean, it's pretty frightening to talk in front of a camera and then have anyone in the public just watch what you have created if you're not used to doing that. I have never been one to want to be in front of a camera. I'm not one for attention, so that just seems a bit wild to me to actually want to do. So I'm not even sure why I wanted to do it in the first place, considering the fact that that was incredibly unappealing to me. But I will say it was Twitter that eventually convinced me to join booktube. That is one perk of booktube. I do feel like there is relatively strong community, and I know there's a lot of controversy about diversity and success and who is ignoring who and all of that, but I feel like in a general sense, you can find people who are super supportive, but that's my own personal experience. I don't want to speak for others. While that is a perk, I do think there is some negative things that come with being super supportive at first. I know personally everyone was hyping me up at the beginning, and everyone watched my first video. By everyone, I just mean a lot of people watched my first video, which was the booktube newbie tag, and I was like, wow, I'm doing so well. So many people are excited. This is great. And then after that first video, where'd they all go? Where'd everyone go? Hi? Hello? You didn't stick around? I know no one is obliged to subscribe to any channel, and yeah, I mean, like, no one has to do that. But I do feel like sometimes it can be a little disappointing when you publish your first video and you're getting all these comments saying you're doing such a great job, we're so excited to have you in the community, and then no one subscribes. I don't know, I almost feel like in a way that's a way to get other people to subscribe to you, especially new booktubers. I'm not sure, that might be a controversial opinion, I don't know. But I do know at the beginning of my booktube journey I was kind of disheartened to see so many people support me when I first started, and then afterwards, where'd they go? So that gets into my next point. I know booktube should not be about subscribers or views or view time. Oh my gosh, what's it called? View count? No. Watch time, there we go, watch time. It really should not be, and I do think it's kind of a thing that's looked down upon if you're like, all I care about is subscribers or views. I mean, like, no one wants someone who is only focused on their success in that way and not their actual content. But in reality, most of us do want to raise our subscriber count to see our content being watched by more people as we produce more videos. And it is frustrating when your content doesn't seem to be evolving and growing. I think that's a pretty obvious statement, and I don't think anyone would disagree with that, but I do feel like, based off of what I've felt and what I've seen other people say, it can be kind of embarrassing in a way to feel that way, because it kind of, I don't know how to say this nicely, it kind of comes off in a negative light when you're just complaining about subscribers or views, because that almost seems like you're not focused on your content. I don't know how to say that nicely, but yeah, I mean, like, how do you feel like you're growing as a person or as a YouTuber more if you don't feel like you are reaching more people? The main reason I'm bringing up subscribers and view counts is because I feel like that's the main way that you can evaluate whether or not you are doing a good job, even if it's not the most accurate way to measure that. But for me, I sometimes feel like as I make more videos, they're getting worse in a way, because lately right now my videos are getting less views than they did when I had probably less than 100 subscribers, and now I have almost 700, so like, what's happening there? It does make me feel often like I'm not producing as great of content, or if I'm boring, or maybe it's some other factor, I don't know, like maybe I'll think I'm ugly and you don't want to look at me. You know, it's hard to mention insecurities when it comes to booktube, because you don't want to come off as whining, and sometimes it's hard to process where things are going wrong because there's not always a concrete way to determine whether you're doing something wrong, and there is no wrong when it comes to creative content. But yeah, if you're feeling frustrated with your success, I see you. You want to see me too? But yeah, I know there's been a lot of booktubers who started booktuber around the same time I did, and I was all excited for them and they were excited for me. We've watched all of each other's videos, but sometimes it does feel a little confusing when I see people who started the same time as me get so many more subscribers, so many more views than I've had. And again, I don't want that to be my measure of success, but it does make me question why that is. And you can explain the whole YouTube algorithm to me, but there's always going to be that doubt of me doing something different that is unliked compared to what other people are doing. And that's really a hard feeling to process, especially when this is supposed to be a hobby for fun. And that's the other thing I want to get into. Booktube has to be something you're doing for fun, or at least something you want to do, because reality is not everyone gets super famous, or at least gets the stats required to be monetized or anything like that. If you're not getting paid for something, or if you're not required to do something, I'm gonna assume you're just doing it for fun or because you want to pick up a new hobby. And while I do believe that is a true statement, sometimes booktube becomes really stressful and it is a lot of pressure, but you know, all pressure that you put on yourself, because literally no one is requiring you to make booktube videos. But yeah, I think with the pressure to come up with both original ideas, but ideas that will appeal to many people, and then execute those ideas and look quote, 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 presentable on camera. Don't even get me started on that. Actually, I'll talk about that next. And to be able to talk clearly and edit your videos in a way that they look professional or at least entertaining, and then creating a thumbnail and uploading that all, and then promoting it, and then hoping people watch, and then responding to comments or not responding to comments, all of that, it just becomes a lot. This is a very time-consuming hobby if you let it be. I guess if you don't post a lot, or if you post short videos, it doesn't have to be a time-consuming hobby. But at least for me, it's a very time-consuming hobby, and I've only had time to engage in this hobby because I've been at home because of the pandemic, and I don't leave my house, so I got time. And that's probably the only reason why, and I do question what will happen if I go back to school, if I'll even continue this. So I did say this was just going to be a rambly video where I just say anything that's going in my head right now. So let's talk about that other point I made about presentability. I'm doing a million quotes, blah, 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 on booktube. I know this is not a point that people like to think about, but I really do think that booktube requires very specific privileges, and that clearly is something that is incredibly frustrating. There are so many elements you need to be a booktuber, or at least have success, beyond the whole YouTube algorithm thing. First of all, you have to have a camera, you have to have some place that you are able to film, you have to have the time and the safety to film a video, you have to feel comfortable in the environment that you are speaking in, you have to have the ability to speak clearly, or at least speak in a way that people will be interested in what you have to say. And I really do not like saying that, because that just sounds ableist to me, but I really do think that is a factor that goes into booktube. And along with that, I do feel like your physical presentation of what identities are visible, such as race, disabilities, physical appearance, anything like that, I do think that influences whether or not people will watch your videos. Maybe you don't think that influences your choice on whose videos you're clicking on, but I do think that is something that is subconscious, and maybe it affects some people more than others, but I do think that there is some kind of discrimination when you are creating videos, because it is something very visible, very auditory, and there's a lot of discrimination that can go on when it's not just something like book reviews that are revolving around just writing skills. One thing that I think about that quite a few people have tried to challenge me on, but I still think it's true, is the perception of physical attractiveness. I know no one wants to say out loud that they're only going to watch videos of people that they find aesthetically pleasing or physically attractive or something like that, but I really do think that plays a part in whose videos will get views. I study psychology in school, and one thing we do learn about is how people who are perceived as attractive or pretty often get a lot more advantages. And again, I'm not saying that to make people feel bad about themselves, but I just think that is something we all need to keep in mind. So like, if you're gonna click on a video or not click on a video, you do have to think to yourself, why am I not going to, or why am I going to watch this video beyond just the content? Because I do feel like a lot of booktube content is just recycled content. How many TBR videos have you seen? How many wrap-up videos have you seen? How many of the same book tags have you seen? You've seen it all. A lot of booktube content is not very original. So what's making that distinction between who is successful and who's not? I do have another point, but I just wanted you all to know that my dress has pockets. I just discovered that, so now, oh, you can't see. Well, oh yes, you can see. My hands are in my pockets. But yeah, my next point kind of is along the same lines of physical attractiveness, but not of the human being, more of the space you're filming in. I don't know if this is, well, maybe it is a pretty big factor, but at least something that I think about is the space and the way that it looks when you're filming. Right now I have my bookshelf all rainbowy, and I have certain books displayed. I'm realizing you can't really see it because of my head, but that's okay. I got my plants and my lights, whatever, snazzy. And I do see a lot of booktubers with a similar layout. I'm not saying this is a definite determinant of whether or not you're gonna be successful on booktube, because I've seen people who have like 3,000 subscribers who just film on their floor with their bedroom in the background, whatever. But I do feel like, at least for me, it's something I kind of notice. And I'm not saying like I'm judging other people's backgrounds, more I look at other people's videos and then kind of compare it to mine, because this is not what my bookshelf looked like before I joined booktube, not at all. And yeah, I'm not saying that's entirely a negative aspect, but it's just another thing where I'm kind of comparing myself to others. And don't even get me started on the capitalism aspect. Well, maybe I'll get started because I'm rambling. The capitalism aspect, if you have not heard the millions of booktubers say it, is that there's this almost unspoken expectation that you're supposed to buy a lot of books and have them all pretty and displayed and book hauls and all of that. I think there's pretty mixed reviews on that, but I do feel like those videos tend to get more views even if people say they're not their favorite. Anyway, those are just some general frustrations I've thought of while thinking about booktube. I'm sure there's gonna be a million more that pop into my head while I'm editing this video, but yeah, those are just some that have definitely crossed my mind quite a few times. So the question is, why do I keep making videos if booktube stresses me out that much and makes me feel like I don't know if I'm actually successful or if anything I make is worth anything? And the answer to that question is because I love booktube. I was in a reading slump for like years before joining booktube, and I did previously love books. I mean, half the books I own right now are from when I was like 12 or 13 years old and bought a lot of books and enjoyed books. And when high school started, I just could not get back into it. So I'm so grateful for booktube for bringing back that joy that I get while reading. I actually have a text right now pulled up from one of my friends after I sent her a video for my new book club announcement. Hint, hint, you should go check it out if you haven't already. But she said, "I cannot explain why, but you do not sound like yourself in the video. You sound like you are living on an elevated plane of existence." And I just, I feel like that text really captures what booktube means to me, because I don't know, I think it's funny because it sounds like a lot of people on booktube and Twitter perceive me a lot differently than I perceive myself. I've always felt like I'm a really negative, dark person who doesn't see a lot of good in things. That sounds really bad. Well, that's true. I mean, I've literally had people in real life comment on that to me because it's obvious. And I feel like with booktube, this is one of my very few platforms where like I'm genuinely so happy to talk about something I love. And yeah, I don't know how to phrase it other than it makes me so happy. And I will put off filming until like 3 in the morning, well, more like midnight, 1 in the morning, because I don't want to do it and I'm lazy. But when I turn on the camera, I just love to talk about this topic and what I've read and the experience of reading a certain book. And genuinely, the words just come out and I get such joy out of doing that. I really do. And in the moment while I'm filming, like right now, I just have so much to say and I get really passionate about it. And I really think it's rare for me to get this passionate about things because I often doubt myself, or I don't know, I feel like no one's listening or that it doesn't matter. And this is a platform that gives me the opportunity to talk about something I really like. So I feel like that's why so many people on booktube and book Twitter perceive me differently. It's because they're actually seeing me in a moment where I'm so happy and so passionate, where in reality I'm usually quite quiet and don't often speak my opinions. So yeah, I guess that should summarize everything I've been feeling lately. Again, there's gonna be a million more things around this topic that I'm gonna think of while editing, so this is just a little tiny casual conversation between me and myself because, yeah, no planning whatsoever. I'm just saying what I'm thinking as I'm speaking. But overall, booktube is very frustrating, very time-consuming, and there's a lot of room for self-doubt when things don't sound or look like they are reaching other people. But I still enjoy it. I really think this is a platform that brings me so much joy and has really encouraged me to find a passion and cultivate that passion and share that passion, even if it's not always reaching as many people as I'd like it to, but that's okay. I've met so many great friends and I really think this is something that I look forward to engaging in, and it makes me happy, and that's what counts. Thank you for watching my video, and I will see you next time. Goodbye. Oh my gosh, I accidentally changed some setting on my camera. Why am I this color? What is going on? Ah! Oh my gosh, I found out what I did. What if I just made all my videos super dark for edgy purposes? Ooh, look at that, so scary.